Mic check 1 2 1 2. The dogs in the building. We live. Yeah. No copying this shit with me, man. You know how we do it at the UUCAST. Mic check 1 2 1 2. The dogs in the building. The big dogs in the building. I got Eddie the barber in this shit with me, man.
What's up?
I got Arie the barber in this shit with me, man. I got Combi in this shit with me, man. You know how we do here at the UUCAST, man. My boy.
Let's go.
My boy's Eddie. Known you for a long time, since back in the day. I remember when you first started cutting. I don't know if that was when you first started cutting. But what was that barbershop called in the Manor? Was it Sharper?
Sharper Edge.
Sharper Edge.
Yep.
You remember JR?
Yep.
He used to come there every day to get his edge up. He used to get an edge up every other day, bro. You started to see his hairline and in his skin. He's like, yo, I'm about to go get an edge up. I'm like, bro, you just got an edge up yesterday. Yep. He's like, yeah, but you see this hair growing right here?
I got one coming up right now.
Nah.
I'm like, bro, you spending so much money. Bro, we were kids, so like, bro, where are you getting this money for this haircut, bro? I know your dad ain't paying for a haircut every other day, bro. But yeah, bro, I remember you were cutting back there.
Yep.
So you've been cutting ever since?
I stopped for like 6 years, actually.
Really?
Yep. I stopped for 6 years. I stopped cutting hair altogether. And then had a big moment in my life where I kind of was like, all right, I need to focus on what makes me happy.
Yeah, pull us a little bit closer, dude.
Yeah, focus on what makes me happy and take it from there.
Right.
So yeah, Arie was my
I was
barber
about to
at
say
the
he
time.
lying. He see me blaze his haircut up, and he
Arie
wants
was my barber at the
clippers
time.
back in his hands.
And finally, I got to the point I was working in the corporate world.
Right.
I was making good money, but I didn't get to enjoy any of the money I was making. I didn't get to enjoy any of the time with my family or anything like that.
Working your life away.
Exactly. I could barely get in for a haircut. I had to book 4 weeks in advance, so Arie didn't know that I would have the time to get in at that day when I had the free time. So finally one day I had enough. Told my boss, you know what, I quit. He said, oh, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go work? I said, I'm gonna go cut hair.
Yeah.
He laughed at me. I went in to get a haircut from Arie that day.
Right.
And she's like, I'm telling her about my day. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, she's like, where are you going to work? I said, I'll work right there. I pointed to the chair next to her. She laughed at me. She didn't know.
I didn't know he was a barber.
We never talked about
knew.
me being a barber. I never talked about it.
Really?
No, I just went in. I just kind of unwinded, just talked about my day, let her cut my hair, have a normal conversation.
Right.
So, then I came in the next day, went out, bought supplies and everything, came in. She's like, I remember the first thing Arie said when I walked in.
To the back.
I had the chair right in front of Arie. Arie's like, to the back,
barbers
to the back.
Yeah. So how long you been cutting?
I've been cutting a little bit over 4 years.
Right. So this happened.
This was
probably like 2 years ago.
2 years ago,
Yeah,
almost 3
I've only
maybe.
known him about like 2.5 years.
Right.
Maybe.
You guys have joined forces and started all these businesses.
I mean,
Yes,
you work so close with somebody, 6-7 months straight, every single day, working next to that person. And then, Arie had already had her foot in the door with the whole social media, sponsorships, everything else.
Right.
She kind of opened my eyes to that whole part of the industry.
To the marketing?
Well, yeah. Well, that whole part of the industry wasn't really a thing for me when I first started back in the day. I started back in 2007, 2008.
It's just word of mouth.
Straight out of high school, I ended up apprenticing with somebody. And then I ended up going to the city and coming back. Right. Came back to the same group of people. And then from there, like I said, I stopped for a little while. I got married. Barbers, we do get a slow season. So unless you stick to that grind and you build a steady clientele, you get to a certain point in the year where it just kind of slows down. Right. So I was so worried about making sure everything was steady. I went to the corporate world and I was miserable. I wake up in the morning wishing, man, I wish I could sleep all day long.
Oh, I know about
whereas,
that.
When I was cutting hair, it's like I never felt that way. Right. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something that makes me happy. I know if I did, when you get into the corporate world, you put, a salary pay,
horrible,
80 hours a week. It don't change what you're making. That's the salaries. I'm like, if I put 80 hours a week in at the barbershop, at, even $15, $20 a haircut, which is what it was back then when I started, I could be making a decent enough money that I don't have to worry about living like this.
Right.
And, that's when I got to that point in my head. I'm like, enough is enough.
Yeah, listen, one of the things I talk about a lot on this podcast is, entrepreneurs and being a conqueror and, taking that step into the unknown and taking that leap of faith
jump
into the darkness and, making it for yourself, because it's a scary thing to do. Like, let's be honest. You're married, you got kids, you're working this job, and, like, your boss, and that's another thing, like, that mentality that those like managers and bosses have in that corporate world, where they're just like, "What are you gonna do?
You could be replaced tomorrow."
Yeah, right, what are you gonna do? Oh, you're gonna quit? You're gonna quit? You got a kid? You're gonna quit?
Yeah. Oh, that's exactly.
You need health insurance.
Word for word, exactly how that shit went for me.
Yeah, and it's just like, to me, it's just like that. Like, that's what always motivated me to like succeed in my businesses and my ventures. Is like, when I lived in Buffalo, I worked at a casino.
Yep.
And on the reservation. And, like, if you're not a native on the reservation, like, they tell you in orientation, like, listen, the jobs, the upper jobs are for the natives. Like, all you other people, like, like you're here, you're gonna work. We'll give you 50-cent raise every year, and just do you, all right? But I'm working, and they were like, bro, one time somebody was like overdosing. I was security, so somebody was like overdosing behind me, right? And I was working at this, you've been to the casino, people, they just stand at the post.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm working, and the dude behind me, the lady comes like, yo, we need help. The dude's in the elevator, like, passed out, pale, overdose. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, yo, they teach us this and drink. I'm like, yo, so I'm radio to suit. I'm like, yo, bro, pull up. I'm like, yo, 717. This is, we got a 717. We got a 717.
I know how to break up a fight. I don't know what to do with this.
I don't know what to do with this. Bro, so I go and I'm helping the dude pick him up, bring him. My super like, yo, sit him on the bench. So I sit him on the bench, right? And I'm like, I'm talking to him like, yo, bro. I'm like, just like, because he's like nodding off. So I'm talking to him like, yo, bro, like, yo, stay alive. I'm like, bro, you're young, you're here with some girl, you got a lot to live for, bro. Keep fighting, stay up. And then the GM of the casino was there, and he came and he was like, yo, one of my coworkers was like, yo, the GM's looking for you, and he was tight. I left the post, and he was like, what? Yo, he was like, yo, who told you? He's like, who told you to leave this post? Da 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 da. And like me, I'm just like, I'm in shock, bro, because like, the dude was dying. He's dying, bro. And I'm still in shock. I never seen nothing like that before. So I'm just like, what? But then, like, me being me, as I cooled down and realized what he's just said to me, I started getting tight. This isn't for me. I started getting tight. No, I started getting tight. Bro, I'm getting tight, bro. I'm loosening up my tie. I'm unbuttoning the shirt, bro. My coat, because they didn't know me. You know me.
Got yelled at for doing the right thing.
Bro, but no, it was the way he talked to me, though. But you know me, I'm cool. I'm a nice guy. So I'm unbuttoning my shirt. I'm getting tight. I'm pacing. And I'm like, bro, when I see this dude, I'm going off on him. I see him. I start bugging on him. I'm like, yo, bro, you got the wrong one, bro. Bro, all the security guards that were my coworkers, they were pulling me out at that point. But yeah, that was the last. I was like, after that, I walked out, and I was like, bro, I'm never working no corporate job again.
Nah, I don't know.
Ever. So tell me a little bit about like your journey, like you starting up and going on your little path of entrepreneurship in this barber's journey.
Well, I guess I started cutting my own hair, and then my sister wanted a haircut and my cousin wanted a haircut, and I just started cutting my friends, and then to be honest, I quit a corporate job to go barber. I was working for Maximus. I know everybody know Maximus. They do like the New York State of
Healthcare.
And I was sitting in there on the phone and people hounding me, and I'm just like, yo, this is crazy. And I lived with two barbers at the time, and I would just see how they was living. You know, they popping bottles every night. They could go buy sneakers every day and be like, I'm gonna make that tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, I gotta wait till Friday. And I was like, nah, this ain't gonna work. So I saved up a little bit of money or whatever, and the girl I was at the time, she had got her tax return. She was like, if you want to go to barber school, like, I'm gonna support you to go to barber school. And I was like, you know what? I'll go to barber school. So they had Austin's, and that program was like over a year. And I'm like, I'm not gonna wait a year and I have to dedicate my time during the day. Like, I can't do that. Right. So I found a school down in New York City where it was only 10 weeks. Oh, okay. And it was like 10 weeks. Course. You pay $3,000 out of pocket, whatever you have to do to commute. Right. I was like, I'm going back to Poughkeepsie, Beacon for 10 weeks then. Yeah. And I'm going to commute from there, save some money up, quit my job, went to barber school, carried myself through barber school. And then after that, a guy that I knew from doing music, he had a big studio in Poughkeepsie, and then out in the front of his studio he had a big open space, and he had made it into a barbershop, but he wasn't a barber.
Smart.
So he was like, yo, I got a spot for you. And this was like the day I was starting barber school. I had like posted like going to be barber school.
That's why I said he was ambitious. He was like, oh, word, you got clippers?
So I had got a barber tattoo before I even went to barber school and became a barber. So I'm like, yo, I'm doing this. Like, I'm down. I swear, like every week he would check in, like, yo, when you done in a couple weeks, you coming? I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm coming. Yo, when you done in a couple weeks, I'm coming, bro. Like, I got you. So I went to barber school. The day after I left barber school, I started working in his shop. And that shop right now, it started off as the new shop in Poughkeepsie. It's the biggest shop there now. Like, they got the best barbers.
He came a long way.
Yeah, I watched him, like, grow that shop. That's always home. Like, if I called him right now, I'm coming to Poughkeepsie, I need a chair, he'd be like, pull up. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I did that. Ended up coming upstate. And then that's when I started working at Hall of Fades, and that's where I met him. And then from there it was like,
yeah, that was my next question. So now we got like kind of the backstory of how you guys both started barbering. Well, you restarted. That's the story how you restarted.
I restarted.
But so when you guys got together, like how'd you guys like get into business together?
So what happened was
and what was it that drew each other to each other as partners? Because I feel like that's important to talk about with people, and I think a lot of people like want to start businesses and they don't really and they're trying to pick partners and they don't really understand what it means to pick a good business partner.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? They think they're just going to go with my boy, bro. Me and my boy, we've been riding from day one.
Yeah, no. I said no.
We've been riding from day one. I know he down. We done slid on the ops. We gonna go start this pastry shop.
Bro,
don't work like that.
No. I guess what happened was we were working for the same shop where I was cutting his hair, and we met.
So you knew how each other worked already.
Right next to each other.
We had some politics in the shop, whatever the case may be. He ended up leaving, and then I ended up leaving a little bit after that. So once I left there and he was wherever he was, we kept in contact because
the whole time.
We literally worked next to each other for 8 months.
Right.
And I had a brand which was called Blade Work, and we made beard oils and barber apparel.
Right.
And he was like he said before, like I was into the social media, building a platform in the industry.
Right.
And he was like, can I help you with that? And I was like, yeah, bro. And me and him sold like dozens of beard oils one winter just randomly together right next to each other. And then we started doing hats and stuff, and he was like, well, I want to help you market that, but I want a part of it. And I was like, all right, bro, if you want to help me with the cost of things, well, let's do it.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
We started doing it, and then I guess that it kind of died down a little bit, and that's what kept us in contact when he left and I left.
Right.
So
was the business
was just the business mindset,
the business, the passion for the industry.
Right. Yep. And then
plus, like she said, we worked next to each other side by side for 8 months. Every single day except for maybe 1 to 2 days a week. When I came back, I was working 7 days a week.
Right.
So when Arie's in the shop, I was
there
right next to Arie.
Right.
And then he was my barber and I was his barber. So you don't chair hop. You still gotta go to your barber regardless of the situation.
Cut, when we're working with each other, right next to each other, I'm doing a cut. I need a second opinion. Who am I going to turn to?
Exactly.
Right next to me. So it just kind of became a bond. So like she said, you don't chair hop. So you get the same person cutting your hair for 8 months. You like the way it comes out. You get along with that person and vibe. Like, she came to see me. I went to see her.
Exactly.
I went to where he was, gave him a haircut, and he gave me one.
Right.
Even after. And then I think he had bounced around to like 3 shops. And he was like, it's hard. Barbershops are like...
It's hard to find a home.
Home, right. So you got to find
You can go cut hair in any shop, but whether or not it meshes and it vibes together and it works out.
I never thought about it like that.
The energy in there.
I never really thought about it from like the barber's perspective of like... it being an environment and
it's got to suit you. It's got to suit your clientele.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Certain shops are set up with different dynamics and everything else.
I'm the type. I just I'm such a busy person, right? So when it comes to like my haircut, I mean now I got dreads, but I used to have the slick back. I used to have the bulky, but now I got the dreads. So it's like when I need a haircut, when I decide I want a haircut, I was like, I want a haircut. So I don't really mind who I go to. Yep. So looking at it from the barber's perspective of like, you know, because I don't care. I'm a confident person. You know, I walk in, I feel secure anywhere. So like, I could understand how your clients, like certain clients, might go to maybe a bar, and that might be. Is that part of the reason why you have different barbershops in different areas?
No. Honestly, the different barbershops in different areas was kind of like, honestly, one of them was like just spring of the moment. Yeah. Another one was actually like, so the Gilderland location that we have right now, the Lion's Den over on Western Ave, I actually was out there a lot. I spent a lot of time out there, and I noticed, you know, there was only one shop really that was out there, which was somebody I had previously worked with when I first got into the industry, which, you know, there's so many heads in the same town. Right. One person's not going to do them all. One shop's not going to do them all.
Yeah. And there's no way everybody likes it.
So a lot of people, you know, there's a lot of people are traveling.
I mean, I don't know anybody, you know, if anybody local ends up watching, or, you know, you might know, you ever go to Gilderland Town Court? Yeah. And you sit in Gilderland Town Court and you look at all the different, you know, you got people that come in from Supercuts and people that come in from Fantastic Sam's, and you got a couple of people that, you know, they go to some shops where they take a little bit more time or show more detail. Right. And it's just kind of like, there's so much money out here. There's some people that just don't get a haircut, or some people that do it themselves. That just because there's nowhere convenient for them to go local. Exactly. So
you just seen the opportunity.
We've seen the opportunity. You know what we try to base our business upon is like everybody that joins our team is family. Right. We don't want anybody that joins our team to be content with just being good enough. They get, you know,
you gotta want to succeed.
Yeah, you gotta constantly push yourself forward.
Like when we do our interview, it's more like hanging out. Yeah, figuring out who the person is we're dealing with.
Yeah, I'm gonna interview you at the bar. We're gonna go
straight up.
Oh, we're gonna do an interview already.
Yeah, meet us for some foods and food and some drinks, and let's
bring $50. So we about to get smacked.
And I just keep it real. Like it'd be like, you know, you go to interview and you're like, you gotta be fake. I'd be like, please just be whoever you are, because I'm gonna be whoever I am, and I'm just gonna talk how I talk, be who I am, and if he's with me, it's even worse. I can see if you're gonna open up to us, because this is how we are in the shop. Like, why am I gonna be like mad professional and give you that like everything I do is professional, but why am I gonna put on a front like I'm somebody I'm not?
Right. No,
because when I'm in the shop,
crap, you know,
you've been in the shop, you know how
you cool.
We cool, and like we're gonna say whatever, and if you can't handle that, then you can't work here.
Yeah, it's not gonna last. So let's not waste your time. Let's not waste ours.
Let's just be who we are.
But yeah, so when we brought in actually a couple of people, we'll give anybody an opportunity. The biggest thing for us is passion, dedication.
Gotta have it.
If you're not going to show up to work every day, you're not going to put in the time and the work. Like I said, when I came back, I was working 7 days a week for like a solid 8 months.
Yeah, you got to.
You know, open and close if I could, past close. Sometimes I'm in the shop till 10, 11 o'clock at night. Still, as an owner of 3 shops, I'm in the shop till 10, 11 o'clock at night.
No, that's another thing I really appreciated with you, because like, you know, when I hit you up the other day to get the haircut, like, you weren't the only person I hit up. You know what I mean? I hit up like 3 barbers, and I'm like, you know, who's gonna?
I'm always on it.
You see what I'm saying? You're like, yo, I can't cut you.
And somebody says something about, you know, I got a lash girl, you know, Jenny. She's been with us for a while. I got a lash girl. If I see a girl post about, you know, I got this question about lashes, or where can I go to get lashes, I'm tagging Jenny. Yeah. You know, if somebody's like, hey, I need a haircut on a Sunday, even though I'm not there, I'm on Facebook. I see it. Why would I not be like, hey, listen, I got 2 other locations that are open right now. You can book with this one and this one. Here's the link. It's super easy.
And I'm a person who, like, you know, I respect business, and I respect good business, and I respect leaders. I respect like people. So it's like the fact that you said, all right, blah, 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 I can't do it, but I got this barber here. Yep. And then I was like, bro, man, you still had an option for me. I'm like, all right, bro, I'm sliding on them, bro. Because I hit up with 3 other barbers, and I went to some barbershops, they're closed. Yep. And like, I'm like, bro, who gonna cut my hair, bro? Exactly. Who want this bread? Who gonna cut this hair?
Like, I don't know if you saw what I posted the other day. Like, 2021 is all about growth and success. Yeah. And like, my goal for this year is to make sure when you're in the upstate New York area, or anywhere I have a location, or we have a location, that when you think haircut, you think, okay, Blade Work or Lion's Den or whatever the name of the location may be that we incorporated ourselves with. So when you do that, you gotta be 100% into it. If you're not 100% into it, you know, right now, she's got 3 different text messages right now from our employee group chat. Right. You know, we're always working. I get home, I'm checking numbers, I'm making sure everything's working out right.
So as the shop owners and leaders, right? what goes into that role when it comes to like, you know, up and coming barbers, like working with these new people who maybe just be starting their careers or you know, or just joining your shop? Like, what's some of the responsibilities that come along with that?
That's another thing. It comes back to like when you're choosing a business partner. So her and I balance each other out really well.
Very well.
I'm kind of like the drill sergeant where she knows how to be stern too, but she can play the good cop while I
can be compassionate.
Yeah, and it works out. You know?
Works out good.
So it's kind of like having kids.
Yeah,
to be completely honest with you, we're all kids. Family, you know, and we got to help each other and we got to understand each other. So you know, you have to understand somebody and know how to deal with that person first, and then from there you have to understand whether or not that person's passionate. And I tell people straight up, and she'll tell, you know, let's not waste each other's time. If you're passionate, you want to be good, I'll push you. Don't push back too much because, you know, if you don't want that, I'll let you, you know, you can skate.
Go do you.
And then when your time comes to go, you go. But if you're passionate, I'll stick with you and I'll keep pushing you. Right. And that's the biggest thing is, you know, you got to make sure that you got to keep a good balance between friend and employee. Mm-hmm. Right. Because you can't just be employer and employee. You got to have some sort of compassion.
Yeah, there's got to be like what's it?
There's got to be boundaries.
Boundaries.
So you know, with that being said, you know, you got to make sure that everything works out well. So if that person is losing interest or you notice that person's slacking off or something, you got to be able to pull that person aside. Hey, listen, man, I know you can do better than this. Yeah. You can do better than this. This is what we need to do.
I know, for real.
And you got to take that time, whether you got the day off or whether you're scheduled and booked all day long. Mm-hmm. And not only that, but you got somebody in there that doesn't have the experience that you have. So sometimes you have to take that time during your busy day to be like, hey, listen, work with them. This is what we should do. Or why don't you try this? This might be easier.
Right.
And I also I build like you said, you got to keep business and like this is my business, but we're still a family. Right. So my favorite line with them is, as your friend, like I need to know like what is what, but as your boss, like this is what I think. Yeah. You know? So I try to keep that level, and I think that keeps everybody in the shop feeling comfortable. And I mean, I make nobody uncomfortable. Like your situation with your life might not be the same as his or hers. So you have to understand like how to communicate with everybody. And if you give them that we're a family, we're a friend vibe, you can come to me, you can tell me what's going on in your personal life. Maybe that's something I need to understand as a boss. Right. You know what I mean? So that helps us keep a balance and keeping everybody on the same track.
Yeah, because the fact of the matter is that, you know, your life and your work, they merge together because you're one person.
You spend more time at work sometimes than you do with your own family at home.
Right. And they merge together, so there's no way around it. And a lot of people and a lot of companies try to like get you to pretend like your work is some imaginary land where
like everybody's happy and beautiful and
like everything. Like when you come into work, you're a whole different human being. Like it doesn't work like that. So it's good that you guys. I mean, I've seen you in work, and I've noticed. Like, I may not look it, but I'm an observative person, and I take mental notes of people, and I'm like, okay, she's a leader. I see how you lead, and you take care of the people in your shops, and you know you ask them questions, and not even just with the work, but just in life, and help them manage their schedule. I noticed that too. You'd be like, you got this, so this is coming up on Saturday. You're gonna do this, that. Okay, that sounds good. You okay with doing that? I was like, okay, she's a good leader, a good little, you know what I mean, a good shop manager.
Right, you gotta make sure.
I didn't even realize you were his partner at the time. You know what I mean? I didn't realize that until you told me. Yep. And you know me, I respect that because I'm a partner-based business guy too. I'm a business out of partner.
And so going back to, you know, having people that come in that, you know, what do you want out of this? You know, the 2 other locations that we got, you asked, you know, did we have them there because they were convenient or because that was a good location? Honestly, a lot of it, you know, the one was a spur of the moment, but it also had to do with we brought somebody in Andy. He had already previously been an apprentice. He decided to go to barber school. He just got out of Paul Mitchell. Before he ever even got out of Paul Mitchell, actually, we had reached out to him and, you know, what do you want to do? Well, I want to grow in the industry. I don't want to just be a barber. Right. All right. Well, listen, when you're ready, come with us. We got a spot for you. Right. So Andy comes in June, and 6 months later, hey, listen, I got some money saved up, ready to go. And that's, you know, part of one of the agreements we do when we bring somebody in. When you're ready to open a shop, come to us. Yeah. We'll match you dollar for dollar. We'll put the effort in if we think that you're ready and if you think that you're ready and we can agree on something.
Let's do business together.
Exactly. So downtown Albany, Andy. You know, Andy came from that area with clientele already built there. And the location worked for, you know, his vision on certain things.
And he has his little, you know, he does sell clothing, belts, sunglasses, whatever. Sneakers, all that. It was the perfect situation for him. As soon as I seen it, I was like, you know what? this is perfect for Andy. Let's see if he's game.
It literally happened off of a bet. I'm like, so Arie, I said, we happened to see the location as we were looking at a restaurant actually at the time.
Right.
And so, you know, the guy goes inside to put the keys away from the restaurant. We looked at and we see for rent. Comes back out and I'm like, you own that too? And he's like, yeah. It's like, it used to be a Dominican hair salon. So I'm like, can we check that out? And we're looking at it and he just kind of walks away and I'm looking at Arie and I'm like, Arie, if I can make it work for X amount of dollars. She's like, I don't know. I don't know if you do that.
He was bugging.
I'm like, yo, Arie, so listen, like if I could really make it work for this, I bet you I can make it work for this if I can. Like, let's just do it. Right. And she's like, I'm like, it'd be perfect for, you know. And she's like, yeah, all right, well, you know, let's see. So I go over, I talk to the guy, and I end up getting a better deal than what I was thinking.
Yeah, a lot of times you'd be surprised. Like, you'd be surprised at some of these, especially right now. Like, this is the thing. Like, all right, so in chaotic times for entrepreneurs and people and conquerors and people who are willing to take advantage of the surroundings, this is the best time to be doing it because everybody else is scared and they're going in their shell because there's so much chaos going on outside.
The world might shut down.
Everything is so unsure. But this is the time where you make your kill shot. This is where you take your kill shot. This is where you take that big leap that you hopefully if you're an entrepreneur, you're sitting and you're always prepared for, because opportunity, let's face it, you never know when it comes. Yeah. Opportunity is going to come when it comes. So as an entrepreneur, your job is to be ready for whatever opportunity comes to you. You feel me?
If you don't take that shot, you don't know if you're going to make it or miss.
You don't know if you're going to miss, but you don't know when that shot is going to, you don't know when you're going to be open. So you have to always be ready to shoot. You see what I'm saying? That's the part they don't tell you. They say, oh, you take every shot, you miss every shot you don't take. But they don't tell you that you always got to be ready to take the shot. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I watched barbershop shut down during the pandemic.
Yeah.
We open too.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
You got to take advantage of it.
The original.
Same, you see what I'm saying here? So times like this chaos, this is where the real entrepreneurs will show themselves, and when like this chaos is perfect because the way things work and the way the economy works is it's built to stay the same. Mm-hmm. So when you get a shock to the economy and you're not where you want to be necessarily, like, let's face it, none of us are Bill Gates, none of us are Steve Jobs, none of us are Jeff Bezos. Not yet. But when this opportunity comes and there's chaos in the system, this is where we need to take our biggest leaps and our biggest risks and shoot for the stars, because this is the time where it's, even though it seems chaotic and unlikely, this is the time where it's most possible. For that very reason.
Yeah. And honestly, that's another thing that I feel like it goes back to where you asked, how do you figure out what kind of... I know that even if I'm unsure about something, but I want to go with it, it's an opportunity that's there. Yeah. If she's got my back on it,
I'm in
there.
If I got her back on it,
we're in there. We expanded our shop. I think he was away for a week, and I said, bro, we have to expand. You seen our spot before that.
Me.
I called him. I said, bro, I found this location on my way to work. Yeah. Like, I already talked to the landlord. Like, he's game. He's like, if that's what you think we should do, he said, Arie, I know if you're like 100% sure on something, then I'm back in.
And that's the one you
just went to.
The other day.
He didn't see it before I even.
At your
barber, that's the first thing I said. I was like, oh yeah, this is they
and there's even more that you didn't see.
Yeah, I know. I was looking in the back. I seen something going. I know I seen that room in the back is like lashes, look like or some type of something. Then I seen something over like, so okay, I'm at the chair
salon style space.
Yeah, I seen something in the back over there. I said, oh, they got something going on. Like I said, I play cool, but I'm watching. I'm looking. Because I'm a businessman too.
Yeah, we went from being in a spot where it was like just barely 500 to 700 square feet. On a Saturday when we're busy, I feel like I'm claustrophobic.
I've been in that one too, and that one was packed.
I'm like this, cutting hair, and I got people on all sides of me. And then the pandemic hits, and it's like right before that hit is when she hit me up and was like, "Hey, I found this spot."
The pandemic came. Like we got 2 weeks after.
We got shut down the day that we were going to open the new spot.
Yeah.
That kind of happened with us with HQ too. Oh, I mean, we opened HQ after the pandemic hit. We opened it in April.
I remember you started posting a few things on your story and everything. Like,
and it worked out in our favor because everything else was closed.
Yeah. And landlords are willing to work with. That's another thing too. People are like, oh, I couldn't make that happen unless I had 10 G's saved. To be honest with you, Arie and I scrounged together $500
to open our first shop
within the week of seeing the place to get our first shop open.
I feel like I'm glad you said that because I feel like that's another thing that people don't really understand about like businesses and stuff. I mean, like, so this space I paid it off just because I was in that situation.
You had the opportunity to.
Yeah, I was in that situation to do it, and we had connections with the people on the building to got at a good price, and I was like, you know what, let's just take care of because I'm looking at things like I'm trying to like be able to look at things more of in like 5-year increments now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at it. I'm like, you know what? Let me just do this, get it out the way. Then we can just focus on growth and acquiring the thing. Because like a multimedia company takes a lot of like weird equipment that costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like the nice thing about being a barber is like the clippers are like max what?
They get up there $300-$500.
This thing
You're
right
already
here.
working in a shop. You're working in a shop already. You already have the equipment.
Right.
So
you guys provide the barbers the equipment?
No, they've already got their equipment when they're working in a shop. So when it comes to becoming, going from wanting to be a barber to a barbershop owner, it's like
you just bring your equipment with you.
We get a space. And what we did was, we sat down, we talked with the guy. Hey, listen, we got to do this, and the third to this location to be able to make it work for us.
Right.
I'm going to need this amount of time, and I'm making no money on it.
Right.
Give me 3 months to work on this.
Yeah.
Everything I'm doing is going to stay here. So it's going to raise the value.
Them.
It's going to benefit you. It'll benefit me. Then we started. Here's the security.
Yeah.
So we came up with the 500. Here's the security.
Our first location, we put a lot more work into that little space than we did that.
Than the big space.
We went from 450 square feet to 1,600 square feet, and we put in more work and more money into that smaller space.
Tearing that carpet up, man. I never want to tear carpet up again in my life.
Yeah, again. That's a thing.
But I did it. But I did it. I worked all day long, and then I'm there with my buddy, and I'm pulling it up.
With this space, he actually, the people who own this place, he actually put in the work to do this before I even talked anything to him about doing this. He was already remodeled this space, like for the building, for the people who own it. So then it was like perfect because it's like he basically already remodeled it.
He's probably visualizing it the whole time. Like he's doing it.
He probably will, because he was telling me about it pretty early in the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Pretty early in the game, he was telling me like we should do this. But I had Mitt at the time, and Mitt was like, that's another business. That didn't take any. I mean, we spent more money remodeling it than we did getting it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like people don't understand. Like, you can really start a whole business with $1,000. You know what I mean?
People think it has to be the biggest, like,
have it lined up.
They have to have. People think it has to be this big extravagant thing from jump. Like, who are we fooling here? You know how much you would be in the hole?
To 1,600 square feet.
Within 6 months, we did that. And you know what? It's because I just watched it, put in our time and our effort. Like, we put in so much time and effort into that little 450 square foot space. Like, you have no idea. When we opened that shop, we even had a doorknob on our bathroom. Like, it was crazy.
We had a rag type of
go from that to see where we are now. Even just with the one shop, 1,600 square feet. We got 2 private suites. We got salon. We got all this stuff. 9 chairs. Just to see that from
abundance.
A little 450 square
chairs.
foot.
Yeah.
And we didn't even have 3 chairs when we first started.
The last shop you guys had a lot of chairs in it too. I think it would have 4 or 5 chairs.
We ended up with 5. So we started off with 2 actual chairs and a space for a third one.
Yeah.
We bought a third used chair because we ended up getting somebody that wanted to come in. And then it comes to, all right, well, we have the 2 mirrors on the other side. Let's buy some standalone stations.
Right.
We added those,
and 2 more chairs, one by one.
And now it's 5. You're making the most out of it.
And then we took the salon over next door.
Yeah.
It was like,
that's where I got my dreads done. My dreads
twisted. Yeah, and she twisted your dreads over there.
That was crazy. The same thing.
Mike put me on to, because Mike, my brother, got his hair.
Mike had been seeing me since Hall of Fades.
Right.
And then he started to come and see me when we opened up the shop there.
Yeah.
And then you ended up coming in once we had the salon open. So what happened with that was I actually knew the girl who owned that salon over there, but she's only using it 1 or 2 days a week and paying full overhead.
Full price, yeah.
So I'm like, hey, listen, you're spending a lot of money to be coming in just for 1-2 days a week. We're interested in a salon. What if we take over the space and the equipment, and we just give you a space to work out of on those 2 days a week?
Right.
And that's what we did. We took over the lease. We took over the space. We took over the equipment. We did some remodeling. Put a little bit of money into it. Didn't go too crazy, but made it a little bit nicer.
Made it happen.
I respect the grind and the the hustle and the I can't even think of the word I'm looking for. The resourcefulness, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, because like I said, like, people think it's such a difficult task, and it is difficult. You have to be it's more resilient than anything. You have to be more resilient than anything. But it's if you really want to do it and you're willing to put yourself out there and take that risk, it's tangible. Like you can really reach it.
A lot of ramen weeks.
Oh yeah,
Lots of ramen.
bro. I know about the ramen week, bro. Sometimes you want to hear something. Sometimes I do things. Like, and this is gonna be crazy. I can't even say this on the podcast, but I do things to make me feel like I'm struggling because I have to have the chip on my shoulder. Like I'll take cold showers. Yeah, I'll take cold showers. I'll eat rice. I'll eat just rice. You know what I mean? I won't turn the heat on in my house because that's what I'm used to. So it's like I don't comfortable. Being comfortable feels uncomfortable to me.
And that's the thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, be comfortable with your life, but never be comfortable with where you're at when it comes to the progress.
Yeah,
I like to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, me too.
Uncomfortable spaces where you grow at.
When you
exactly,
the two of us in the corner, and we'll come out with
I love it. I used to sometimes, bro. I'll boil. I'll wash myself in cause in my old house we used to. You ever live in a house that took oil for heat?
Yep.
And, the oil truck has to come and fill it like your house is a gas tank. Yep. Well, sometimes in my old house we would run out of oil, bro. You never knew what day it was coming, but you knew a good 6 times a year you wasn't gonna have no hot water. So you don't know what day it is. So one random day you wake up for school, you go to take a shower and that joint ain't getting hot.
You better go boil some water.
You gotta boil the water. I still do it to this day. I think it adds character. Every now and again, if I feel like I need a boiled water day, a boiled water shower, I'll take one.
Humble yourself real quick.
The only direction you got is to go up.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't forget where you came from at the same time.
Absolutely.
And I like those feelings. Like I said, I got comfortable with being uncomfortable. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I like putting myself in situations with my back against the wall to where I feel like, I'm really gonna have to pull something out of my ass to reach the next level. But with that being said, man, this is crazy. This is good. We had a good time. What's up? Yeah, socials. Yeah, pull up their socials.
Let's do it.
The Instagrams and the Facebooks. We got the Facebook right here. Pull up the beat. Go back to Lions Den Barbershop. Lions Den. Where's that located at? Tell them the address.
2563 Western Avenue. It's in Altamont, New York. All the way up Western, past the cross gates. You can't miss it. Right before the town hall?
Gilderland Town Hall.
Right before Gilderland Town Hall. Pull up, get yourself a nice cut. See, they got the mints. Blade Works Barbershop, that's where I went. Hold on, switch the camera to me so they can see my freshie. Switch the camera to me so you can see the fresh lineup. Oh, look at him. Look at him. Blade Works Barbershop, pull up. We're giving the address to that.
568 Columbia Turnpike.
568 Columbia East Bumble. East Bumble, stand up.
And we got the second location, 149 Second Avenue.
149 Second Avenue, Albany. 149 Second Avenue, Albany, downtown. Pull up. We got Instagram, Eddie the Barber. Go back to Eddie's Instagram real quick. Eddie the Barber, follow that. 2 E's on the. And go to Arie's Instagram.
Yes, sir.
Arie Blades.
Jeez,
right, you see those cuts. Who took those pictures? You took those on the phone?
I'm not taking my 6500.
Oh, the 6500?
Yes, sir.
It's fire.
50 mil.
50 mil, that's fire. All right, go to the Lions Den Instagram. I got the mark on my hat on my forehead. This hat mad tight. It's too small. That joint's cutting off my circulation.
Lions Den
518. That's the barbershop Instagram. Follow that. And then Bladeworks Instagram.
Sure.
Bladeworks Barbershop on Instagram. Follow that. You know the vibes. I'm your host, the Big Pissaruski. You know the vibes. 518, stand up. Yo, this has been good, bro. I appreciate you guys for coming out, man. We're gonna do this again, bro. Next shop you open up, because I know you're not gonna stop. We're gonna do this again. And to all the people watching at home, you're great. You're a conqueror. You're destined to achieve anything you set out to do. You're amazing. No one can stop you. No one can hold you down. You're amazing. You're a god. Don't forget that. Be safe.